So Alec Baldwin recently accidentally, during filming of a Western, which I think is pretty relatable here.
With Jensen Ackles in it from Supernatural, to tie that to what I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Good point. I remember reading that too. But unfortunately, Helena Hutchins was killed during this, and of course that's a terrible tragedy, and may she rest in peace. And I, honest to goodness, mean that.
Oh, for sure. You can find plenty of bad takes on the internet about the whole situation on any side that you want.
Yeah, for sure. And at the end of the day, no matter what, it's a tragedy, and it shouldn't have happened. And basically, a live round was put into a prop gun. Now, I promise you I will bring this back to Cowboy Bebop. So, unfortunately, we had this recent tragedy that came up, and this also brought up a lot of discussions around the last time this happened. And the last time this happened during the filming of a movie was, if I'm honest with myself, my favorite movie. Like, if there's a movie that I've watched more than any other movie in my life, it's The Crow with Brandon Lee. And unfortunately, during the end of filming of that film, the same thing happened to Brandon Lee, and we lost Brandon Lee, which was terrible.
It's similar, but it wasn't a live round for Brandon Lee. It was a dummy bullet that got lodged and then shot. But same thing.
Yeah, so the way it works is they use bullets that look like real bullets, but the lead part is empty, it's hollow. But when they're showing up close the loading of a gun in a movie, they need the bullet to have a tip. And what happened with Brandon Lee is a piece of that fake tip broke off inside of the prop gun, and then when the blank was fired behind it, that piece is what killed Brandon Lee. And I'm wondering, after enough time has passed and Twitter has calmed down and all that, if they're going to find that there was some version of this negligence that happened.
They said they've already confirmed it was a live round, but who knows?
Yeah. Both tragic. So after a month-long investigation, it was found to be negligence rather than foul play. The film was finished up using, at the time, very groundbreaking CGI and face replacement technology. And in the mid-90s, this was all very, very new technology. One thing that's interesting about this as well is the stunt person, who was a brand new stunt person at the time, who was Brandon Lee's stunt person in that film, in The Crow. His name is Chad Stahelski, and Chad Stahelski is one of the creators of the John Wick series. So nice little side note there. What was tragic about Brandon Lee is it was right when he was going to explode.
Yes.
Like when that movie came out, how well he did with that movie, he was going to become Brad Pitt level movie star, like Tom Cruise level movie star. That was his moment. It was just so sad that we lost him, especially if you looked at how he acted in that movie and how he portrayed that character. And then through the subsequent sequels, how it just got worse and worse and worse, ending with Edward Furlong, who was just terrible. I mean, it just showed that it was a difficult role to pull off.
I don't know that I've ever seen any of them but the first one.
The second one's serviceable, the third one's bad, the fourth one's awful. Like, I loved The Crow so much.
That's based on a comic book as well. Speaking of
James O'Barr from Detroit. Yeah. Why am I bringing this up? Why do I talk about Alec Baldwin and what recently happened? Why am I talking about The Crow? Well, one of the episodes in Cowboy Bebop is The Crow. It's heavily influenced and based off The Crow, which I think is so cool, because this was just 3 years after that had happened, after that movie had finished being made. And it's episode 5, and I think it's the first episode where we are introduced to Vicious in the series.
Yeah.
But a lot of the shots are set up the same. The hero, Spike, gets shot. The bad guy has long hair and a sword and a gravelly voice. There's even a bird. He has a bird with him that looks just like a crow. Yep. Spike was told by people he kept meeting up with that he had come back from the dead, right? They all thought he was dead and he had come back from the dead. Brandon Lee comes back from the dead in The Crow. even at the end, the good guy goes up some stairs at a church to face the bad guy. There's even an ornate round window in both. And even in both, the good guy sees flashbacks, rosy imagery of their past. They're both revenge plots. And then probably one of the standouts is Spike gets thrown through the round window, just like Brandon Lee gets thrown through the round window in The Crow. So it's, I mean, at first I thought it was just me because I love that movie so much. Am I like, is this just like The Crow because I want it to be just, but no, there's way too much there. So I went to the internet.
Yeah, it's too much similarity.
Just to make sure I wasn't crazy. And there's a ton of people online that are like, yep, that's The Crow. That was inspired by The Crow. So I wanted to go on that tangent, one, to, you know, just briefly pay respect to the people who unfortunately lost their lives, you know, for their art. And then two, just to point out that just solid connection between the show and the film, my favorite film.
That's a good, I like that tangent. It's one of the nice things you can do with, and probably one of the reasons why I tend to like episodic things is because you can do homages, tributes. You can do weird, really weird episodes. There's some really weird episodes. There's a couple of them that are like off the rocker.